Resident Evil is a survival horror game also known as Biohazard in Japan. Playing as Alpha Team members of Raccoon City's elite police force known as the Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, or STARS, you're tasked with tracking down the missing Bravo team who disappeared while investigating a series of bizarre murders on the outskirts of town. Your investigation leads you to a mansion situated in the middle of the Arklay Mountains where the search for Bravo team continues and we're formally introduced to the Alpha team.
Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Rebecca Chambers, Albert Wesker, Resident Evil.
With slight variations based on the character you select at the start of the game, Resident Evil allows you to play as either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield, offering a different experience based on who you pick. This choice is essentially the game's two difficulty modes, with Chris being more difficult and Jill offering a slightly easier experience. Jill has 8 inventory slots, as opposed to Chris's 6, gets access to powerful weapons earlier than Chris.
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things.
Has a lockpick.
Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
And gets assistance at several key moments where Chris has to fend for himself. Chris can, however, sustain more damage than Jill, which balances this out slightly.
Barry?
What is it?
Watch out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of this.
You'll traverse the mansion using tank controls, which may be confusing at first, but are easy to use once you understand how they work. You aren't the most agile, which actually plays into combat, because it requires you to think about enemy positions and how to best avoid them given your limited mobility. Not every enemy needs to be fought. In fact, it's best to avoid most enemies to conserve your supplies for later when you really need them. Throughout the game you'll receive an arsenal of weapons to aid you in battle, and you'll need them because you'll face a variety of threats as you make your way from room to room, from the slow, shambling zombies to the fast, agile Cerberus, each new enemy requiring a different tactic to take down. When you're not fending off the undead, you'll be solving the various puzzles scattered throughout the mansion, finding key items, and backtracking to previously inaccessible areas, all while reading journals about the people who worked on these heinous experiments in an aid to add a sense of dread to the extreme situation you're desperately trying to escape. Another thing that adds to this sense of dread is the ink ribbon, used for saving. There are a limited number of them in-game and should be used sparingly. Without this knowledge, though, you could easily put yourself in a situation where you're unable to save, or worse, save with little health or ammunition, making further progress needlessly difficult. Luckily, however, item boxes are scattered throughout the mansion. These item boxes are connected, so placing an item in one will allow you to access that item in another. The dialogue
We
in
could
this
get into
game
trouble
is
if we get
B-movie
lost.
tier at its
We should
best,
start from the
with
first
some lines
floor,
sounding
okay?
cheesy.
And Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
While others are just
Richard,
kinda
what
pathetic.
happened?
Oh, Jill, this house is dangerous. There are terrible demons. Ouch!
But we all love a good Barry
Oh,
quote.
Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
It wears the title of survival horror well, as it should, given it's the game that made the genre popular. And if you haven't played this game, you owe it to yourself to give it a try and see the origin of one of the greatest horror franchises of all time. So there we have it, one of the most influential horror titles of all time. It may not be as scary as some of the modern day horror releases, especially in the Resident Evil franchise itself, but if you're a horror fan, it's definitely worth a play. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.